What's up, everybody? Welcome to another reaction. Today we're going to be reacting to a video by Atozy. The title of this video is 500-pound Karen successfully sued Lyft for not fitting in the car. I did do a reaction on this last year, and the story goes that this individual you see on the screen, I believe her rapper name is Dank, demoss or something like that. Essentially, she got denied a Lyft because of, she was overweight. The driver did not want to provide services because obviously his car and suspensions and all of that. So she sued. And judging by the title of this video, it looks like she might have won the lawsuit. I literally thought she didn't have a case, but let's watch.
8 months after a viral video, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and months of arguments about accommodations, Detroit rapper Dank is officially settled with Lyft. And the way the story ends just has a bad taste, because the driver has been fired, and Dank is now rolling around in her own van with a chauffeur.
Yeah, this is so unattractive. I don't understand why this is being paraded around like this is a good thing. It's unfortunate.
This is hands down one of the most American stories I have ever covered in my entire life, because, hey, we are combining morbid obesity with lawsuits. Does it get more American than that? Because this story literally went from, ma'am, you can't fit in my car, to a full-blown discrimination lawsuit. And if you've been around on this channel since February, you'll remember how all this started, because this is Deja Blanding, but she's more known as the Detroit rapper by name Dank demoss. And earlier this year, she requested a Lyft to go to a Detroit Lions watch party, but when the driver arrived, the driver quickly realized that he thought she wouldn't fit in his car. He sized her up and he was like, yeah, this thing is not gonna fit in my 2007 Toyota Corolla.
Which I believe is reasonable, because if I'm not mistaken, if you are a Lyft driver, you essentially are an independent contractor. You do work for Lyft, but you own your own assets. And just living in the United States, you have the right to deny services to people, especially if it's your own property. So if he made a judgment call stating that he believed she wouldn't fit in his car, and if she did fit in his car, it would cause a lot of damages to his car, which Lyft is not going to pay for, or whatever they're going to pay is not going to amount to the adequate funds to actually get that car serviced. Why would he be sued for making that judgment call? And look, I did say in my last reaction about this whole story, I do understand how she felt. Like, it's kind of embarrassing, being denied service because of your weight, but you got to look at it from a logical point of view. He made a judgment call on his own property, and he said he was very respectful. He didn't call her out of her name. He was trying to beat around the bush, like saying, yo, you're too fat. But he ain't say that. He just said, like, he just, skirted around it a little bit, but we all knew why.
But it's clearly, I don't know, just by how it sounds, it's probably run on like 200,000 miles.
You say this thing?
Did I say this thing to her?
This thing.
No, hold up. Did I say, like, this thing as in her, or this thing as in, like, getting into the car? Like, I think I referred to the car, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I hope so.
Hold up. This lady is not going to fit into the thing, which is the car. That's where I'm going with this, okay? Yeah, that's what we're trying to say. But before you guys say, hey, this is fat phobia, here's what actually happened. So obviously, she pulled out her phone, she started filming, and she started saying, hey, I could fit in this car. And the driver calmly replied, believe me, you can't. He wasn't yelling, he wasn't insulting her, he was just calmly saying, hey, I don't think this is gonna work in my car, and my car is old, and it's running on its last legs, and this might put it over. This might put the car in the grave. But he went on the whole spiel of how his car was too small, that it had a tired tire, and to be honest, you can hear it in the audio, like, that car didn't sound like it could handle a 500-pound person on one of the wheels in the back. He then suggested that she got an Uber XL. And then obviously to top it off, he said that he would not charge her for canceling the ride, that he himself would cancel the ride. And just to give a little bit of context, because I feel like this is kind of important. So a typical sedan can handle about 1,000 pounds total, which includes all passengers and cargo. A single seat can usually take about 250 pounds safely. So when you're dealing with someone who weighs around 500 pounds, and that's weight concentrated on one side of the car, the driver's concern isn't random. It's basically just physics. balance. But this is an interesting predicament. Like, Deja obviously is human, and I can see how this is upsetting for her. And I feel like the situation has some similarities to, you know, the Six Flags rides, like the roller coaster rides, and also plane seats, where there's now a recent debate where if a person does not fit within the plane seat, that they have to buy a second seat. Obviously, the situation is a little bit different because you also have the Uber XL.
Isn't the whole situation with the plane seat thing that the second seat should be offered for free? I think that's the argument, isn't it? I don't know.
Option and all that like that, and then also like Lyft isn't really a massive airline conglomerate. It's more or less like a platform, so each driver, they're not employees for Lyft, they're just contractors working for Lyft. So at least one would think that a Lyft driver isn't a spokesperson for Lyft. Apparently the lawsuit thinks otherwise, and I am worried that this situation did cost this driver's job when he was just trying to look out for himself and his car. But obviously Deja felt humiliated. She filmed the whole thing and posted it online. Then she filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Lyft, accusing them of weight discrimination, which is pretty much the pinnacle of Karen moves here. But her attorney, Zach Runyon, gave this statement: refusing someone transportation based on their weight is not only illegal, but dangerous. Imagine the consequences of Miss Blanding was unable to seek shelter after the driver left her stranded. This could have ended even worse than it did. Worse than missing a Detroit Lions watch party? But obviously that's...
You could have literally ordered a Uber XL, but okay.
Statement set the tone for the entire case. And look, I'm not saying that being left on the side of the road is not scary, but this wasn't some like emergency. This was a Detroit Lions watch party. And obviously, if this was an emergency, it's not like an ambulance wouldn't be there to handle it. Like, Lyft drivers aren't a substitute for EMS. Now, obviously, everything I'm saying here is 100% my opinion. I'm just giving some commentary on things that unfolded here on the internet. But when that clip went viral, reactions were just all over the place. Because one side sided with the driver and said, you can't expect the driver to just put his car at risk when she could have easily ordered an XL. And the other side said this was body shaming. And honestly, I don't think this was personal at all. I think it was just geometry. Like,
I mean, yeah, I could see why people would look at it as body shaming, but I don't think the Lyft driver wasn't being disrespectful at all. He was looking out for his own property. And again, if damages were to occur to that property, which is his car, Lyft is not going to do anything about it. He's going to be responsible for fixing the car, putting the gas in the car. I don't know if they get some compensation for rides and get compensation in like gas and stuff. I don't think so. But even if they did, it's not going to be sufficient enough. So that's where I was looking at it. Now, when I did do the reaction, the only thing I didn't like was in the comments, a lot of people were kind of making fun of the lady. I don't think that was necessary. I'm not going to sit here and call her like all kinds of names because she's that overweight. If anything, we should just encourage people like that to lose the weight. We should encourage them not to see this as, you know, what's the thing? Loving your body. You can love your body, but if you love your body, you got to love it enough to lose weight, to be healthy, to not make your heart beat 4 times faster than the normal heartbeat rate and stuff like that. Like, you're clogging up your arteries. You're just setting yourself up for a lot of medical conditions to happen. So loving your body is to take care of it. So that's what I would say. So I'm not gonna call her names. It doesn't serve anybody right. What, me calling her all kinds of names, is that gonna make me feel better? No. Is that gonna make her feel better? Probably not. I don't know. But yeah, I think the lawsuit was kind of BS as well. So I don't know. I'm on the driver's side. I will say that 1,000% on the driver's side, because he didn't do anything wrong, didn't disrespect her. He's looking out for his own asset. So he has the right to refuse service based on that. Now, this is where it's a slippery slope. Me saying that, would that then justify somebody refusing service based on race? That would be wrong, because I'm pretty sure signing up on these like platforms like Lyft, Uber, and becoming a contractor, you are in a sense representing the company. So I'm pretty sure in the company guidelines, you can't discriminate on gender, race, I guess sexuality, and all of that. So that's different. But making a judgment call on weight is not discrimination, is looking out for your vehicle. So that's where I would say, you know, the difference lies.
It was kind of like the whole, you know, the kids' toy things where you put shapes inside of holes, and if the shape doesn't fit, you have to find a different spot to put the shape. Is this not kind of similar? And if that wasn't enough, Deja did interviews like The Breakfast Club. And when she went to sit down, she realized, oh, I can't sit on a normal chair here. So they literally had to bring in a sofa just so she could sit down.
What you want? What you need?
There's one more.
A bigger chair or something.
It's already little.
We had That's what I'm talking about. Good. This is accommodation.
There you go.
And when they finally dragged the sofa in, she wasn't like apologetic or anything. She was like, yeah, talk about accommodations. Like she was making a big thing that like they had to do this for her. Like, come on, are you kidding me? That does not help her point whatsoever. And obviously while they were accommodating her, she wasn't like quiet and a little bit apologetic. She was more like kind of rubbing in their face. So she was like, yeah, accommodations, we really need this. Like, come on. But like logically also, what is this Lyft driver supposed to do? I guess like a lot of people say he just should have sucked it up, let her squeeze into the car, and if anything happened to the car, I mean, that would just be for him to pay. Or, because realistically, that's what would have happened. It's not like he could be like, hold on, wait a second, let me come back in a Sprinter. Or she could have just like ordered a bigger car like an Uber XL or a Lyft XL like he suggested. And obviously somewhere within all this, she started to lean into the moment. Like she was on interviews, she was gaining followers, she was making weight discrimination statements, and let's be honest, she was really milking those 15 minutes.
People think that bigger people, obese, the F word people should just be in a house when it's like, we not.
F-word?
What? Who? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the F word. I'm not about to.
Okay, so this is what I would say. Like in the moment reacting to the video, I did say the only thing that kind of seems off is that she purposely pulled out the camera, and she could have possibly been milking the situation, knowing full well that this was going to get her clicks. But I'm trying to be graceful, so I said, no, maybe she was just looking at it because she genuinely felt discriminated against. But now, coming from that situation, going on interviews and doing all of that, you can kind of look at it like, yo, she knew what she was doing recording the situation. I think she knew she couldn't fit, but she was just trying to get a lick real quick. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking now, but back then I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt.
You can't say in your house, fat.
And also, if it sounds like I'm losing breath while I talk, that's because I am. I am currently recovering from an illness that I had for like a couple of days, so bear with me.
And that word.
Yeah, we don't use that word in my house either.
I thought you talking about the slur. I'm like, wait, I'm confused.
No.
Right, come on, fat is not a bad word. Like, the F word, you can't be calling fat the F word. Everyone's
Fat is literally a medical term, so it's not a slur.
thinking of a different word then. And also, just one look at her TikTok, and I found that she doesn't actually think that fat is a slur.
Yeah, fat with a P. What it look like from the back, I won't see.
The whole thing seems like it's less about her being silenced and more about her being put in a slightly inconvenient situation. Because the lawsuit cited Elliot Larson's Civil Rights Act, claiming that the defendant, Lyft, through its agents, representatives, and employees, unlawfully discriminated against the plaintiff based on her weight, treated her differently from similarly situated individuals based on weight, and allowed plaintiff to be subjected to unlawful harassment based on her weight. So I guess all of this was unlawful harassment. But it didn't stop there, because the suit also argued that this caused her emotional and mental harm. Meanwhile, Lyft made their statement. Lyft unequivocally condemns all forms of discrimination. We believe in a community where everyone is treated with equal respect and mutual kindness. Our community guidelines in terms of service explicitly prohibit harassment or discrimination. AKA, yeah, we're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So fast forward 8 months later, court records confirm the case has officially been settled. Her attorney said the matter was resolved but wouldn't comment on the specifics. No public number was released, no official terms, but Daily Mail and Fox 2 both confirmed the lawsuit ended quietly earlier this summer. And here's where the plot twists. The driver, Abraham, got fired from this. And Dank, demoss, she bought a brand new van and now she has a chauffeur. Is this justice? I don't know. Because what started as, I just want to go to this watch party, turned into a national news cycle, a discrimination lawsuit, and apparently a personal driver for one lady. So yeah, no court ruling, just a quiet settlement, a fired driver, and a rapper, now with a van and a chauffeur. But also notice how she didn't buy a small sedan with high mileage to be chauffeured around in. She bought a big van. But either way, who knows? Maybe she'll be back to making music videos again.
We fight if us, but that don't mean we hate each other.
Yeah. But this case is just so interesting because it's like right on the line of, you know, defending discrimination, but also being reasonable. Like, what's going on here, guys? Now, obviously, weight is a protected class in Michigan, but that doesn't magically change that each seat, especially in a small sedan, can carry a maximum of up to 250 pounds safely. So I don't know what's going to happen now in the future. Because at the end of the day, the driver, from what it seems like, sure, he could have handled it better. Because the big mistake the driver did was say the reason why he decided to decline her. He could have just declined her and said, hey, I'm too tired, I can't drive right now. But at the end of the day,
That wouldn't make sense because he did arrive to her location after she requested a Lyft. So if he said that, she could say, then why did you accept the Lyft request and why did you come here? So I don't think that would have probably been a worse explanation. I think he didn't call her fat, but he just said his car can't take it, which is kind of wild to say in the moment, but like, you know, what is he gonna say? He has to think on his feet at that moment in time because he can't give her no service. But we're gonna leave the video right there. If you want to watch the full thing, I will put it in the description. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. Do you think justice was served? Do you think it was unfair that the driver had to lose his job and for a reasonable reason for denying service? Or do you believe like, yo, regardless if it's your property or not, if you're under a company, you need to do what you can to fulfill the services of that company? God bless. Remember to keep God first in everything you do. And with all that being said again, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.